This weekend, critics all over flocked to see the latest film in a franchise featuring a character that has been featured in many films for generations and is really just an industry icon. I uh, I saw the other movie. I took the road less traveled, but still a character who's been in a bunch of movies. I'm John Stark from BackTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And this is, of course, a review of Madea's Destination Wedding. This is on Netflix. It does have audio description that was done by International Digital Center, narrated by Sri Gordon. And it's obviously written, directed, and starring Tyler Perry. We're going to talk about it. So click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and do that all now, because I don't know where don't know where your head's at. I don't know where if we're connecting, if we're mind melding or not, but I'd appreciate it ahead of time. So I am a blind film critic, so while other people say that they go into films blind, I literally go into everything blind, sometimes walls. So yeah, it's a difference of perspective. We watch things with audio description, which is also known as descriptive video. And it just lets us know what are the visuals, what's happening on screen. It needs the film to shut up in order to do that, though, because it doesn't want to trample dialogue. So I didn't really enjoy the audio description track to this. I hate to shade International Digital Center because they usually do a lot of really fun work, but this must have been a pain in the ass to try to create an audio description track for, because there aren't a whole lot of breaks. Tyler Perry refuses to let his characters ever sit in silence. So instead of robust audio description, which actually most of his films truly have audio description that is better than the film. Even Straw, which I didn't think was his best audio description track ever, I thought was really pretty good. I've really enjoyed some of the audio description tracks to his films. Mea Culpa had some really great descriptors in it to give us some of the visuals in terms of paintings and stuff like that, and the sex scene, and some of the visuals were done really well. I think it's important to note that while I post content every day, I post it because essentially what I'm making is not really intended to last or sustain. I'm not making sustainable content for long periods of time. I know YouTube is all about evergreen content that will come. Listen, you want a review of my movie or not, that's it. You either came here because you saw Tyler Perry's Medea's Destination Wedding and clicked on that, or you just love me and are watching all of my content. But this is not evergreen. 15, 20 years from now, no one's going to care about this. It has the lifespan that it has. It has the necessity to it that it has, and it has the kind of effort that I would put into it so that I can put out the most amount of reviews and talk about the most amount of audio description tracks or the most amount of experiences as a blind person. Perry, on the other hand, actually creates things that are supposed to sustain and last. But unfortunately, we live in a world of streaming that has created so much disposable content that Tyler Perry is probably the leading person behind what is, this mass disposable content that's populating streaming services, where you end up watching something and then a year later you forgot you watched it, and then within 5 years you could literally watch the movie again and you wouldn't even remember that it existed. You're just what? There's something about missing trailers and missing that campaign, that trip of actually going to the theater to seeing something, that makes some of these streaming things less memorable. It's even less memorable than having to get your ass up off the couch and go to Blockbuster. At least when you go to Blockbuster and you pick a film off that's the one film. It's you've gone and acquired the One Ring, and you have to take it to Mordor. You know, I mean, like, you went somewhere. Now you're just kind of bored. You're flipping through whatever streaming service. It doesn't matter for this purpose, and you just kind of land on a movie, and then you go. Now, it's a great vessel for people who miss things in theaters. You can watch things, or people who want to rewatch classics, or people who binge watch TV series. But for a lot of these films that end up going straight to these streaming services, it's not really conducive to an artistic environment for them. Netflix is one of the worst when it comes to not offering any sort of feedback. I constantly see films where I'm like, there's no way this did not screen for an audience. No focus group ever saw this movie. The only people, maybe they did a friends and family screening, maybe. But friends and family screenings are bullshit because they're friends and family. So it's sort of like how they talk about how sometimes these junkets, right? These big premieres, that the reviews that roll in out of the big premiere are usually higher than they would be because people are so excited to attend a premiere. I kind of get that, because now that I get offered screeners, it's like I don't want to piss off people and then not get offered screeners, but at the same time, my opinion, like, I can't, people come here because they're like, what do you think about a movie? And I will always want to be transparent and honest. So I hate when I have to give a negative review to something that I was offered a screener for, because it sucks, because I think, oh, well, man, that's gone. I'm never going to get any screeners again. But fuck it, you know? So sometimes I don't get screeners when I just ask for audio description, and then they just ghost me, and I'm like, okay, I'm on the tomato meter. I'm going to review your film anyway, and at some point you might as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So what do we do about Tyler Perry? Basically, this film has a threadbare plot where Brian, played by Tyler Perry, finds out that his daughter, played by Diamond White, is getting married all of a sudden to somebody she barely knows. It's called A Shotgun Wedding. Unfortunately, that title was taken by another equally forgettable streaming movie starring Jennifer Lopez. And of course, he has to populate the movie with his sort of like island of misfit, caricatures. And I do mean caricatures, not characters, because he's not really creating well fleshed out things. He's creating sort of like jokes. It's sort of like what Mike Myers was doing with Austin Powers movies, how all the characters that he would play, it's like it was a gimmick. And then he just kept popping up in characters, and it's funny to see him play, Dr. Evil. And then he's Dr. Evil and Fat Bastard. And then he's Dr. Evil, Fat Bastard, and Goldmember. And it kind of feels like that with Perry. Like, he just keeps adding on these characters. And eventually he realizes he can't play all of them, so he has these other actors join in on the film so that they can play these other sort of odd miscreants that perform this sort of like Beverly Hillbillies out of fish out of water, let's take them on the road scenario. Like, let's put these people into a situation. All Tyler Perry has done here is he's created what Jim Varney did with Ernest. He's just taking Madea and putting her anywhere. Ernest saved Christmas. Ernest scared stupid. Ernest went to jail, went to Africa. Ernest did a lot of things. Medea's been to jail. Madea booed twice. Madea has a Christmas movie. Medea's been in witness protection. Now she's got a destination wedding. I mean, she's been all over the place. The sad thing is that Tyler Perry used to actually make things that mattered, and that's why he kind of popped, is because his plays caught on with churches and Black audiences, which drove his product to once get to a film like Diary of a Mad Black Woman, which actually at its core is a story about a woman played by Kimberly Elise who is actually being abused and has to escape her tremendously controlling husband in order to find potentially herself safety and maybe actual real love from Shemar Moore. So, and then in that, he just transplanted Medea. And it's so weird at the time. I remember thinking this. I was like, this is a weird formula because in one part of this movie, there's an excellent movie here with Kimberly Elise who's giving all of the right performance. And then you have Tyler Perry in drag. It's sort of like if Robin Williams as Mrs. Doubtfire had just gone on to like make a series of like really serious Lifetime movies, and then like Robin Williams just like stumbles in the room and like, I'm just Gemini Doubtfire. How can I help you? Oh, I see your husband has taken the kids and you don't know where they are. That's let me give you a life lesson on that. No, it's sort of with like every successive film, the impact of the story and what he's trying to say and what he's trying to do gives way to Medea, gives way to her wacky brand of comedy, and each film has gotten progressively worse. This film is basically non-existent because the whole film hinges on just a misunderstanding, and then everything works out in the end. So there's no conflict. Like, they remove the conflict from the film because the conflict doesn't exist. It's a bullshit conflict. The conflict in this movie is basically the fact that Tyler Perry's Brian is berated into taking everybody on this destination wedding and paying for it. And like shamed. He's like basically like shamed into doing it. Like, oh, you wouldn't be able to pay for it. Oh, I know. And so he agrees to pay for a destination. He's like, father, the bride pays for the daughters. And yes, all of you can come. And so the whole movie is basically just this gang of stooges just walking around and charging things to the room, and then the gag at the end is like, oh my god, the bill is hard. Of course it's huge. We knew the bill was going to be huge. But Perry cares so little about the film that he fucking kills himself at the end of the movie, which is, I know that some people are going to be like, that's not really what happened. He just kind of fainted. He didn't really die. I mean, he'll be back. Brian will be back in the next. We shouldn't have a next Madea movie. We're done. The film is done. The franchise is done. There are no more Madea movies. Stop making them. This franchise was done before this movie started. Tyler Perry has directed 5 films in the calendar year. He does not need this movie. Yes, he directed Day and Date, released July 11th, 2024, was Divorce in the Black. After that, he did The 688. After that, he did Duplicity. After that, he did Straw. And then exactly a year to the date, July 11th, 2025, released was Medea's Destination Wedding. He has directed 5 films in a calendar year. He does not need this movie. He does not need this franchise. He needs to figure out how to make better movies by focusing on them. That is what he needs. He has glimmers in 688. He has glimmers in Straw. But because he's so concerned with trying to like keep as many things in the air as humanly possible at one time, they end up missing. They end up falling short because he can't focus on anything long enough. He's got to move to the next project. He's got to put things on sort of like a fast pace, rapid fire timeline. And he's got all these deals. He's got not to mention all his TV shows that he's producing at his Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta. So this film just becomes the worst directed film he's ever made, because now he's sitting around and he's just letting the camera sit on his characters and just being like, letting them ramble. I've never checked my phone so much in the film. I checked my phone trying to will push notifications to show up just so that I could see and be like, oh, what's happening? Nothing? Are we sure? Because sometimes like Madea or Joe or one of the other characters would just be like babbling. And it's not like, are they hoping a joke would come out? He just like holds the camera on them. There's no way there's a script to this, because it's impossible to write this. It's impossible to write phonetically the way that they speak with the sort of babbling. Like, I don't thought I'd we're gonna go over there. I was gonna see that, and we're gonna go over there and see what I was walking in. And oh, you have to do that. I mean, it's like it's not even like intelligible half the time, and it's like improv. He's basically filming sketch comedy, but he's not good at it. So, and it feels unrehearsed, and it just feels like he's just like winging it all the time. And he's just going to let the camera hold on a character until he runs out of gas. and then the scene dies. And then we move into the next scene, which is a different member of the family somewhere else in the hotel doing something else. And then when they do want to advance the plot, they have these really painful scenes of dialogue where like somebody has to go run to somebody and talk to something, or they have to hear some phone call that is the kind of phone call that you wouldn't really have in public with like the kind of words like that, because you can't hear what the other person is saying on the other end of the phone, where you're relaying far too much information. So the script is really bad. And I know it seems like it's the white guy, he's on YouTube and he's bashing Tyler Perry movies. I gave Straw fresh. I liked Straw enough. I thought Taraji P. Henson was excellent in it. I thought Sherry Shepherd, Tiana Taylor were good in it. And honestly, 6888 was not my favorite movie of the year, but it had promise to it. And I just wish he had spent a little bit more time with it. It's not that he's incapable of directing. It's that he's directed so many shitty movies without ever being called on it or being checked on it, or having this sort of presence of mind to actually sit and listen to people like me who are sitting there going, no, this is not good. Your audience attrition is going to continue to go. The thing is, you may get clicks. This may trend and hit Netflix #1 because people click on Madea. But if you continue to build up like negative goodwill for your character and for yourself, are you doing any good for it? So I think there are plenty of characters, there are plenty of sequels that you could make suddenly on Netflix that would just hit #1, but doesn't make them good. Like, it doesn't mean that people actually wanted to watch the film. It doesn't mean that people were there for the right reasons or anything like that. This is the worst film of 2025 that I actually finished. There was another film this year called Big Freaking Rat, which I watched because it had audio description, and I gave up on that movie like halfway through. And I would lean on this film being the worst film of 2025 because whereas with Big Freaking Rat, it's got a whole bunch of people, I don't know who they are, and I don't know what their skill level of filmmaking is. So it feels like shitting on independent filmmakers versus shitting on Tyler Perry, who's now directed like 30 films and should know better. Like, all of this stuff, he should know better. He should have more skill. The film just kind of starts and it kind of ends. And it literally ends with him dying. I mean, and I know that seems extreme for anybody who's sitting there gonna be like, well, he just faints. The movie ends with his daughter's new beau, like, giving him chest compressions. Like, actually performing chest compressions on him. We don't do that on somebody who's fainted. Like, you're not trying to resuscitate somebody who's fainted with chest compressions, you know? So, like, that's where he leaves the movie. That's his final gag is, well, this was such a thing that it killed Brian, who is the closest representation to Tyler Perry that we have, which is kind of an ironic representation because I would say these characters are killing Tyler Perry. And he just refused to acknowledge it. And sadly, there are going to be people out there who are like, I like this movie. This movie's great. Like, okay. I mean, to each their own, I'm sure, you know. I'm sure there's a reason why there's content for anything. There are people who like anything that's out there. Somebody liked it. Doesn't matter what it is. The thing that you could think is the dumbest thing in the world, someone likes it. I promise you, somebody likes it. Doesn't matter what movie, what TV show, what YouTube video. Doesn't matter what it is, somebody likes it. So the fact that somebody might watch my video and go, I laughed my ass off. I thought this was funny. It's like, yeah, okay. Cool. And fine. I don't care. This is still a really terrible movie, and it's a terrible trajectory for Tyler Perry's career. I've seen quite a bit of his movies. I've seen quite a bit of Madea movies. Not all of them, thank God, but I've seen quite a bit of his movies with Madea in them. And unquestionably, this is the worst thing he's ever directed because it feels like he's throwing it together. It feels like he doesn't care anymore. And he shot this in like a week. He edited it in a week and then handed it to Netflix. And the sad thing is, it's got talent in it, like Diamond White. I remember her from X Factor. She's a great singer. And I kind of wish she was being given better things to do. She does a lot of voice work. She's in Lion Guard, and she's in Moon Girl versus Dino, whatever that thing is. Like, Yeah, she mostly does voice work and Tyler Perry stuff. So Hollywood just never really had great promise for her, I guess. I don't know. But and then the rest of the cast, I don't know. They're just, Tyler Perry just finds people and gives them work at Tyler Perry Studios, just rolling it off the street. So I I don't know. There's no real conflict here. Madea doesn't have any problems to solve like she used to. Madea used to actually come in and she would give sort of like her knowledge on thoughts and problems. Now she's just obnoxious. Now she just like causes problems more than she solves them. She doesn't offer any sage advice anymore, or any like uh passed down through the generations, but then just sort of filtered through this sort of weird drag comedy thing that Perry thinks is funny. So this isn't anything anymore. Medea's Destination Wedding is just content creation at this point. This is a TikTok video come to life. This is what this is. It's not a film. It's not even an experience. It's just content creation for Netflix. He got paid, he made money, and he walked away. And he doesn't care whether or not you like it or not. Tyler Perry does not give a shit how I feel about this movie. He doesn't give a shit how you feel about it, even if you liked it. He does not care. There's not a bone in his body that guides him at all by quality and content, which you can tell by his output of movies. This movie's incompetently directed. It's incompetently scripted and edited and acted and everything. And no one ever stopped it. Nobody ever said, "Hey, can we go back? Can I see the dailies? How's the movie going?" Oh, Tyler finished it in 3 days. Like, nobody's ever concerned about anything like that. I'm sure a lot of these shots were just one takes, you know? Half of them are him in costume or him as Brian. So he's just like, he walks in as Madea and rambles for a minute and then yells, "Cut," you know? We got it. Do you want to see it? I'm fine. Felt like I nailed that on first take, you know? No, you didn't. Anyway, Medea's Destination Wedding is the worst film of 2025. I don't think it's going to be beat this year. I had a miserable experience watching it. I kept wanting things. I keep wanting my phone to just tell me anything that was more interesting than this film. I would literally look at my phone for like 30 seconds or a minute and then look back up at the screen and the same character is still rambling in the same room, in the same scene. Like, I know I can't see the screen, but it's like the audio description. I can tell it's the same scene. We haven't left, you know, and they're still talking about some of the same nonsense. And it's a deeply unfortunate movie. I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I thought it was just going to be like, well, it's another unfortunate miss for Tyler Perry, but truly, this is the worst thing I've seen. I'm at almost 200 films from 2025, the worst film I've seen. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and let me know what you think in the comments. Go ahead and call me out if you think I'm wrong. You probably haven't seen Tyler Perry's Destination Wedding, Medea's Destination Wedding, and you think I'm being mean. Check out my review of Straw if you think I'm being mean, and then realize that I didn't know this was coming. So, yeah, there you go. Thanks. I'll see you guys on the other side.